Hi, once again, welcome to one of my video lessons. Now, today we're going to be painting something completely different. Something I never painted before, so it's new for me as well. And this is going to be a sea turtle, but also something else that's new for me as well, is painting, well, an underwater scene. Now, the one in question is this one here. And you can see when you look at this, there's a lot of bright colours there, isn't there? Some really sort of vivid bright colours. I mean, when you look at the water here, right way around, when you look at the water, you can see such a rich blue, isn't it? So I've got a gradiated feel from a deep blue all the way through to like a lighter blue further down. But the process of painting that is going to be done through wetting wet washes first of all. Now, to achieve this sort of background, what we need is a darker colour right at the very top, then working our way all the way down to the lovely kind of rich, vivid blue at the bottom. But we're going to be doing that on a wet and wet background as well. So trying to keep everything nice and slick while we're doing that. One thing you don't want to be doing is mixing colours whilst you're applying it to the paper. You want to have them colours ready mixed up. Otherwise you're fighting drying time all the time, and then before you know it, the paper's starting to dry on you and you end up with lots of blemishes all over the place. And what we're going to be doing is working with a lot of different techniques within the background. Now, normally I would paint the background in one go. That's it. Sort of a mottled effect. And I use that for all my sort of wildlife paintings, of being a cat, dog, a bird, a mouse, whatever it might be. I have like a mottled effect behind the scenes when I decide to use the background. So that's normally done in one hit. However, this time around, what I'm going to be doing is adding lots of detail all the way through this, but not right to the top. As you can see, I'm going to start from the middle all the way down, adding some little detailed areas there. I'm going to be using a technique called splattering. So if you've never used splattering before, it's a really good fun technique to try out. But it's quite messy as well, so watch out for that. All I'm trying to do is be gentle to begin with. I don't want to go too dark too quick. And this needs to be softened down as well. A little bit more paint, tap some off. If you're not sure again, just test it away from the painting on the white border somewhere. Scrap pieces of printing paper. You need to keep doing this now for quite some time. And then another technique for the water as well, and that's going to be lifting off. Now, some of this paint is quite staining to a certain degree, but how do we lift a colour off, which can be staining as well? So I'm not going to get it right back to the white of the paper. What I'm going to do is use my brush and take off a little bit of paint bit by bit, all the way through that process, creating little tiny marks here and there all the way through, of varying sizes as well. Now, once that's nice and dry and blended back a little bit, I don't want it too sharp. Remember, it's underwater. Don't want anything really sharp under there, because our main subject, the focus of the subject, is going to be the sea turtle there, isn't it? So with the water, I want to soften it down a little bit more and just put some extra details in there as well, just to finish it off. And then that will be the background done. Yay! Oh, brilliant. Then we can make a start on painting the sea turtle. Now, this is a very colourful character, isn't it? It really is. Now, we'll start off with the eye. Now, the eye isn't round, is it? You can see it's more of a sort of leaf shape, really. And the eye hasn't really got much in the way of highlights within it either. Tiny little bit, but not really bright highlights, because that side of the head is actually a little bit in the shade. So because of that, we have to paint it that way. So we've got to think about where the light is hitting the head. In fact, where the light is hitting the entire body, including the shell of the turtle. Now, I always paint the eye in detail to begin with, and that's because I like to see some life on that paper straight away. Because I've got to spend a lot of time working on different layers throughout the body of the sea turtle, haven't I? And having that little bit of life there to begin with kind of brightens up the painting a little bit more and gives you something else to focus on as well. So, a bit of life there straight off, eh? Why not? Okay, clean brush, here we go. What I'm going to do is get a little bit of one of our blues. If you remember, that was a 4-coloured mix of phthalo blue, French ultramarine, Payne's grey, and also alizarin crimson. I'm going to pop some of this in here. This is actually probably quite watery on the side there. A little bit like that, that's all you need. Clean brush again. Then tiny circles, just blend that in. That one area there. Now, the colours themselves, there's quite a few there, isn't there? And they're really bright, vivid colours, some of these as well. When you look at my mixing palette here, you can see, make sure it doesn't run anywhere, I think it's nearly dry now. There's quite a variety of colours within that palette. From burnt sienna, even using green as well, like phthalo green, that sort of colour. We're going to be mixing a variety of colours together to get the colour that we need for the final project. And we're going to be working through layers all the way through this, because I want to make sure we've got the lightest layers on the body first of all, and I mean the really pale layers. So more water than pigment, and I mean a lot more water than pigment. Once them layers are dry, we're using a variety of colours as you can see. Then what we can do is start to build up those layers gradually, and that's done by thickening that paint, but not too quick. So every layer, once it's dry, I'll put another layer over the top, but a little bit more fine-tuned, thinking about the overall shape as I go along, because those foundation washes are very, very important, because they help to create the shape, the form of the body that we need before we even think about adding the details over the top. Soften that back, because there aren't really any sort of sharp details in here, are there? Okay, let's go to our dark colour. It's our black. Okay, we'll add this one in. Remember the Viridian Green and the Alizarin Crimson. Just tuck that down there a little bit, and also around the top there as well. It's going to help the shape. Now when we get to the top layers, and I mean those really rich colours, we can start to apply those all over the head and then towards the shell as well. But do note as well, when you look towards the belly of the sea turtle, there's a lot of blue there, isn't there? Because that's reflecting the water underneath, even though it's in the water we know, but it's kind of reflecting the ground underneath its belly. So you have to think about that as well when you're adding the colours onto the paper. So it's all about controlling those colours, adding the final details on the top to get the overall shape and the form of the sea turtle. I don't know how big they are actually, so I'll put a little bit bigger. And the same on this one here. Flattened ovals, that's all they are there. This one's slightly larger than the other one. It's just about touching the edge where the white line will go. And towards the top, I'm going to stipple. First of all, so I've got a bit of a line there. It's not a kind of really defined line, is it? But there is one there. And then we can see towards this corner, there's a tiny little dark area there. And that is about it really. Now, once we've got all the colours on there, and all the rich tones as you can see, then we're going to add the watercolour white. Now I know watercolour white is one of those colours, is it a colour? It's one of those colours which some people don't like to use. I know that. But if you want to use something like white gouache, or anything like that, that'd be fine. There's a variety of different manufactured white paints on the market for watercolour. So have a look around and see which ones you can find. Just make sure that whatever you use is opaque, because if it's not, you find that the white paints will dry very dull, and you don't want that to happen really, especially on a really bright area. Yes, we do weaken the white down for those duller areas. We need to do that anyway. But with the really bright areas on the sea turtle, you really want to use that white to a more creamy consistency, just to make sure that the white paint stands out. And on the edges of these, the peripheral edges, just around there, look, we can use a watery version of our white, which will fade as we know, just by tapping occasionally, not too much, around some of these edges to help blend them a touch more. So we're going to be working with lots of detail, lots of colours, a variety of techniques along the way. I'm going to show you how to do this step by step, right from the beginning all the way through to the finished painting. Click on the Patreon link down below in the description and join in the fun. So let's make a start on painting the sea turtle, shall we? And let's get them brushes wet.